Good morning and welcome to the Sudoku channel. This is Oliver coming to you from y'all by the sea in Ireland over here in Europe, and you're more than welcome. Now we're going back over the archives looking at diabolical Sudokus from the Telegraph, and this is number 5613 from the 10th of September 2021. Now part 1, and there's a link down below in the comments to part 1. Part 1 we used all the basic Sudoku solving techniques and took it as far as I could take it anyway. And then if you look in the comments down there, you'll see if any viewers have come up with a solution. This is my solution, and if somebody's come up with a cleaner one, which I totally expect to have happened, because I can tell you my solutions are never all that clean, then I'll do another video with that solution with a link to it as well. Down below there are links to tutorials on X-Wings. Be sure and have a look at those if you're not too sure of how they work. I'm looking at this X-Wing on the ones where the bases are the rows, and the thing to remember is if the bases are on the rows, you're going to delete on the columns. So a base means we can only have two occurrences of the particular number that we're looking at. We're looking at the one here, so we've got two ones here between B2 and B9, and if we jump down now to J2, we also have, well, we should only have two ones, but we have an extra one here, and that's called a fin. So when you're looking for the tutorials, have a look for the finned X-Wing. So this is the fin. If that was not there, then this would be a genuine X-Wing, and then we'd be able to delete that one and that one. But this fin stops us from doing that. So if that's not there, we can delete this. But if this is the one, if this cell is equal to 1, well, then we're going to be able to delete this anyway. So one way or the other, we're going to be able to delete that one there. Okay, where do we go from here? Well, because there's so many binaries, and a binary is a cell with two values, I was looking at that, and I was also looking at, well, what houses are we going to be able to get rid of things? And I just looked at this one as being something that has quite a number of values in there. But the chain that I was looking at starts off in B7. And there's a 5 here. And what I wanted to do then was end up somewhere where I could get rid of one of the 5s down here. And you just do this at random. I was looking at this for a long time, and then it just occurred to me that this 5, if I could end up here, I can get rid of this one here. That just occurred to me, so I tried it. And the way you check out all chains is you always start off with the value being not on. If you haven't done chains, again, there's a tutorial there for chains, and there's a tutorial on strong weak links. And this is known as an alternating inference chain, an AIC. So there are tutorials down there for that. So you start off with, I want to start on 5 and I want to finish on this 5. So you start off with this not being a 5. Well, if it's not being a 5, then it must be a 4. And if that's a 4, then come over here. This cannot be a 4. It must be a 1. Now, if that's a 1, then go down over here. This is not a 1. If it's not a 1, it's a 2. And if that's a 2, this is not a 2. It must be a 5. And you can do the same thing starting off here with this being not a 5, it's a 2, and work your way back to the other end, and the other 5 will be true. Which means if this is not 5, that would be a 5. And vice versa. So we'll never have a 5 here. We can get rid of this 5 here in G7. So that was an alternating inference chain. Now after that, I was a little bit stuck, as always seems to happen. But I found another X-Wing. Having done the 5s, I found that we had another X-Wing on 5s. This time, if you come down to the bottom down here, G3, we have a 5 there. And the only other 5 is this one here. So 2 5s there on that. And look, we have 2 5s here. So the bases here are on the rows, which means we're going to delete on the columns. Well, there's no 5s up here. But if you go over here, there's a 5 up here at the top, which we can get rid of. So when we get rid of that, this means this now is the 5 for the house. So that must be a 5. Now, having made that a 5, we see what else could happen. Now, the 5 doesn't get rid of any 5s anywhere, but it did have an effect over here. We have a 1-4 there, and we have a 1-4 down here, which means if you haven't seen these before, this is known as a, I don't know what it's known. It's known as a double or some other type of pair. I just can't remember what people call these pairs anymore. Conjugate pair, that's the word, a conjugate pair. And again, there's tutorials down below on that. It means you can't have any 1s or 4s on this column, which gets rid of this one here, which means we now have 2 1s across there. And if you just come down, 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 we've got 2 1s across here. So this is an X-Wing where the bases are across here and the other base is across here, which means you can get rid of anything in the columns this time, which means we can get rid of this one here in J8. Now, that was good, and we're still not... Having got that far, I was tearing out my hair and I couldn't work out what to do next. And I started looking again at all the binaries and stuff like that, and I saw, lo and behold, you know, binaries are all taken care of. The only place that has non-binaries are these two here. So I started looking at this house for no other reason but the fact that I said if I could get rid of one of those binaries, I'd have one of these BUGs. Binary Universal Grave, and I thought that would be brilliant, but I didn't find anything there, I have to say. But I did find something else called, what I used to call a bent triple, but I believe modern folk call them a Y-wing. So if we look down here at G7, we have a 3-6 in G7, and up here we have a 3-6-9, and over here we have a 6-9. And again, there's a tutorial down below on this. So a 3-6, a 3-6-9, and a 6-9. And what's common between all those is the 6. So any cell with a 6 in it that can see these 3 cells, we can get rid of the 6. And now we're going to be able to solve it. So if you want to go through all the different X-Wings and chains and all the rest of it, I'm sure I didn't need half them. All I had to do was make use of this nice little chainy type of thing here. And the way you prove that is if you take one of the cells, for example this one, if you say that is a 3, well, if that's a 3, then this is not a 3, in which case you have a 6-9, 6-9, which will get rid of the 6 there. That's if it was a 3. If it was a 6, well then you get rid of the 6 anyway. And you can do that for that cell or for that cell, but one cell is sufficient. Okay, proof done. Now let's see if we can just finish this off. Okay, we have a 4. We'll get rid of that one and that one. So we now have 2 threads that we can start working on, and we have 3 threads. And that's usually enough to sort any Sudoku puzzle out. Unless you make a mistake, of course, which is always possible with yours truly. But I'll do my best now not to make a mistake. And well, you know what? I am looking forward to see how other people solve this, because I am absolutely certain that somebody is going to come up with an amazingly simple solution. And if and when they do, I'll make a video and put it on, and I'll be only too glad to admit that my solution was a load of cobblers. But you know what? I still enjoy doing these things, just to keeps the brain going, you know that? And you have to keep it, especially at my age, you have to keep the brain going. Being, what would I call myself, a septuagenarian or something like that, okay? And you know what? 10-15 years ago, I never thought I'd be able to do this when I'm in my 70s, and I'm really enjoying it. I really do. And I'm really enjoying all the feedback that comes back from yourself. And you know what? I'm just deleting things here without thinking, and that is a great recipe for failure. I do puzzles with my wife in the evening using pen and paper, and quite often we don't get them done because I don't pay enough attention. We should be paying attention, but we don't. We make a total mess of everything. So this one must be the 3, because there's only a 3 left here. And we shouldn't have a 2, 9 there because we have a 2 here, which means this must be a 9. See, I wasn't paying attention. This one has to be a 4. And, come on. There's a 6 up there, so this one has to be a 5. And which is this? We have a 3 up there, so this one has to be a 6. Well, there you go. It was painless. Although I can tell you, before I started this video and I was sitting down trying to work, I say, oh God, there must be a way of solving this. I was getting more frustrated by the second. Anyway, look, that's it. It's a good exercise. People, if you're like myself and you're not really all that adept at doing these things, it's great to find a whole load of X-Wings, even if you don't need them. And I love the fact that I found that Y-Wing, the bent triple, because I've been trying to find those for ages. Everybody else seems to find them, and this is the first time I found it myself. Yay! I feel great. Anyway, look, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell or whatever you call it, and then you'll be told when the next one is coming out. And the next one should be coming out in about a week. So thank you all, and Slán Tamil.